In this video, I'm going to share with you my top 20 preps for 2020. But before we get into that, if we're just meeting, I'm Denise Jordan and I teach traditional homemaking for today's homemaker. So if you want to learn more about making and keeping a home, and that includes being prepared, hit that subscribe button and tap that little bell icon so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Okay, let's get into it. At the top of the list is this whole eggs dried. It's a dried egg powder, and there were so many questions about this one when I was showing various preps, and I really found that I enjoyed it. I used it to make omelets, and I will admit I couldn't get it to whip, to like thicken up and fluff up like you do with a regular egg. So I did add a little pancake batter mix to my omelet mixture, and it did fluff up a little bit more. But one of the things though that it worked beautifully in was when I used it for baking. I made some corn muffins and they rose nicely, had a beautiful peak on them. It worked really well with them. I also made some mac and cheese, and it required 4 eggs in this particular mixture. And I used this prep, and again, it worked beautifully. Now, just to let you know how it works, for 1 large egg, you add 2 tablespoons of dried whole egg powder and 2.5 tablespoons of water, and that's equivalent to 1 egg. And like I said, it worked out beautifully. Now, would I say these dried eggs, these powdered eggs, taste like regular eggs or fresh eggs? No. Is it something that I would prefer? No. But if push comes to shove and I don't have a dozen eggs in the fridge and I need to make a dish that requires eggs, this can certainly fill the bill. Coming in at number 2 is this cooked ground beef from Grable Country. This cooked ground beef was so delicious. I used it to make chili. I also used it in spaghetti, and you can use it in a lot of different dishes. Hamburger vegetable soup, all kinds of different things, stuffed peppers, whatever. And let's just see what it says here on the package. It says ideal for chili, sloppy joes, spaghetti, and hamburger pie, which is a form of shepherd's pie. So this is really definitely worth the money. It costs somewhere between $3.50 and $4 depending upon where you buy it. And I picked up mine at Kroger. You can get it at Kroger, at Meijer. You can order it online from Amazon, and I will put a link to it in the description box below. But this is absolutely delicious, and I will link the video where I made some spiced apple chili with this so that you can see how I used it in one of my meal pantry recipes. But coming in at a close second from the same producer was this whole chicken. It is a whole boneless chicken, and you've got the light meat and the dark meat in the can, as well as chicken broth. And I tell you what, I used this to make chicken noodle soup. It was amazing. Chicken and noodles casserole, equally amazing. So between the two, it was hard for me to decide which one I like best, the cooked ground beef or the whole chicken. But both of them worked out absolutely amazing, and you can do so much with the cooked chicken as well. Like I said, chicken casserole, chicken noodle soup, chicken and noodle casserole, chicken pie, just all kinds of different things. Now, one thing I forgot to mention was this particular size can is between $6.50 and $7, and that's because you get twice as much meat in them. So these cans are more expensive, but they are definitely worth the price. And then something else that's in the same category but didn't rate at coming in at number 2 were the other canned meats by Grable Country and some other producers. So for example, they have the beef chunks, which are amazing. They also have the pork chunks. You can also get the cans of turkey meat, and you can find the turkey in large cans such as this. And then this is a great value brand, which is Walmart's brand, and it is the pulled pork and barbecue sauce. So again, it's already cooked and it's got the barbecue sauce on it so that you can make pulled pork sandwiches. Just open the can, heat it up, and you're good to go. And then of course you're going to have your canned tuna. So I've got that in the canned meats category, as well as the canned ham. And there's a couple different varieties of the canned ham. Now, just to tell you a little bit more about this DAC canned ham, one of the things I did notice is that, like with most canned meats, it is a little bit softer than if it was, say, a regular meat, like one that had been fresh or frozen and then freshly cooked. It's a little bit softer because of the processing for the canning, and it's definitely a bit more salty. So the sodium content is definitely something you want to think about with any canned products. Coming in at number 3 is this Bertoli Rustic Cut Pasta Sauce. This pasta sauce is so delicious, and I like the large chunky vegetables that you get in it. I can find it at Kroger, you can find it at Target, you can probably find it anywhere online. It runs between $3 and $4 a jar. So it is a little bit more pricey than your, say, Classico or your other pasta sauces, but I think it's worth the price. And then pasta sauce, you can just do so much with it. You can make pasta, of course. You can use it to make chilies. You can use it to make soups. You can use it for so many things. So this is my favorite pasta sauce, the Bertoli Rustic Cut. And this is the roasted garlic pasta sauce. And then I've got a few other things that go in the pasta sauce category that I'll share with you, but again, they didn't rate a number. So I just want to show you some of these other tomato products that are so important when you're trying to make a meal for your family. I like this paste picante sauce. You can use it for salsa, you can use it on eggs, you can use it in soup, you can use it in meatloaf, you can use it in anything. So if you don't have this kind of pasta sauce, you can certainly go with this picante sauce and make all kind of, you know, Mexican dishes like enchiladas and tacos and whatever. If this is all you got, you can do a lot with it. And then the other things that I want to include are cans of crushed tomatoes, or chili ready tomatoes, or just plain old petite diced tomatoes with different seasonings in them, because again, you can make so many meals with your tomato products. So top of the list for number 3 is this Bertoli Rustic Cut Pasta Sauce, roasted garlic, but then the other tomato products round out the number 3 category. My favorite preps, number 4, is pasta. In particular, it is these Essenhaus noodles, and these are the wider noodles. I love them because they taste so homemade. They're just like my mama or my grandma used to make. They are absolutely delicious, and you can use them in casseroles, in soups, and so many other things. Now, they do have a brand of thinner noodles that people may use in soups or different types of casseroles, but if I'm only going to buy one kind of noodle, it's going to be this one. This is just so good. I like them in chicken and noodles, beef and noodles, chicken noodle soup, and tuna noodle casserole, and just all kind of things that you put noodles in. So, and they're about $3.50, $3.75 a bag. So these Essenhaus noodles are perfect, and you can get them at Kroger, Meijer, Walmart, and so many other places. And then another one that is at the top of the list is this potato gnocchi. These little potato dumplings, which are imported from Italy, I didn't discover until I started prepping about 6 months ago. And oh my goodness, where have they been all my life? They are absolutely delicious. And you can use these for any dish that requires dumplings. You can use them in soups and stews and things like that. And they really make such a hearty meal. So if you need to stretch a meal, these dumplings will certainly help you to do that. So, Essenhaus noodles and potato dumplings. You gotta get some. Coming in at number 5, I actually have 3 products, but they're all milk products. So probably this shelf-stable milk in a carton is my favorite in this category. And I simply had not thought much about shelf-stable milk until I thought about prepping and the possible need of having to use milk and not having a refrigerator to keep it in. And this is just like regular milk. Only once you do open it, you do need to refrigerate it. But until you do, it's good on your shelf for almost a year. So I really like this. It's just plain old 2% milk. And in this particular container, I have a quart. And it's probably about $2 a quart, maybe $2.50. So it is a little pricey when you compare it to fresh milk that you get in the grocery. But if I don't have a refrigerator and I need milk that I can pull off the shelf, this definitely will fill the bill. And then the other one that I really like in the same category is this shelf-stable whole milk. And it's only in an 8-ounce carton. So it's even got one of those little straws that the kids can kind of poke in the top and drink it that way. Now, I'm really liking this because if I have a recipe that calls for milk, most of the time it's either half a cup or a cup of milk. And the other day I needed to make some corn muffins, and my sister was coming over for dinner, and we use a lot of soy milk and almond milk. Well, she's allergic to nuts, and so I couldn't put the almond milk in the muffins. So I was able to just grab one of these little 8-ounce cartons of milk, use that for the muffins, and not have a lot of milk to waste. So I really enjoy having these small cartons of milk as well. So 2% milk or whole milk in these shelf-stable cartons, and you can drink them at room temperature, but of course milk is always best when it's been chilled. And then the third item in that same category is this whole powdered milk. Now, this particular milk, whole milk powder, as you know, milk is an excellent source of calcium, and this is not something I have to worry about refrigerating. So once it's open, I can just use it as I need it and then screw the top back on and set it back on the shelf. Now, does it taste as good as, say, whole milk or milk from the fridge? No, but if you mix it up and chill it and serve it chilled, it's pretty passable. So again, do I want to use this in place of regular milk, even milk such as this? No, but if I need to, this will certainly fill the bill. So you definitely want to make sure you've either got some shelf-stable milk in a carton or this container of whole milk powder. And I got my whole milk powder from Amazon, and I will put a link for you in the description box below. You can also get some cases of this little shelf-stable milk as well. So whatever links I can find for you, I'll drop them in the description box. Coming in at number 6 is buttermilk and sour cream powder. So here is your sour cream powder, here is your buttermilk powder, and they both work beautifully. I used the buttermilk powder the other day to make buttermilk biscuits, and my husband loved them. I also use it for buttermilk pancakes and any recipe that calls for buttermilk. The sour cream powder is equally as great in baking, and then you can also use it if you want to, let's say you're making mashed potatoes and you want to zhuzh them up just a little bit. Sour cream and mashed potatoes is delicious, so you can also use it there. So mashed potatoes and baking and those kinds of things, so definitely pick up some buttermilk powder and sour cream powder, and I'll link them for you in the description box. Now, item number 7 is this Nestle Medea cream, which is also known as table cream. And I found this particular product in the Hispanic food section, and I thought, table cream, and on the picture they show it with strawberries. So and also mac and cheese. So I thought I'd pick some up and give it a try. And as I said, it's considered to be table cream, and I thought, well, what do you do with table cream? Well, it doesn't have as much fat content as your, say, your regular cream or your whipping cream, so you can't use it to whip. It won't whip. But what can you use it for is in your coffee, and I did use it in my coffee, and it worked out nicely. You can also use it in mac and cheese, things like that. Anything that you need to add cream to that you want to make it a little richer, like some kind of cream soups and things like that, you can use this little Nestle Medea crema or table cream in that. Works out beautifully. Sometimes though the products will settle a little bit, so when you open it you want to make sure you give it a good stir so that you've got it stirred up nicely. Now, is it thick enough to pour, or rather is it thin enough to pour? It's not really a pouring cream, it's pretty thick, so you're going to spoon it out. You're going to tend to spoon it out. But it does work nicely. So now it's got kind of a little sweetish flavor, just a little bit sweet. I think it's sweeter than, say, your half and half or something like that, but definitely a good addition for your coffee and creams and things like that. And it's less than $2 a can. I don't remember the price, but I know it was less than $2 a can. Coming in at number 8 is this 15 bean soup. It is packed with protein, high in fiber, and it's just so good for you. Make some corn muffins or have some crackers, and you've got yourself a meal. You could even pour it over a little rice to make it a little bit more hearty. When I'm making this 15 bean soup, I like to add either some chicken or turkey meat with it. Sometimes I'll add a little sausage or ham bits, and that just gives me a little additional flavor, and it is so delicious. But if you want to go the vegetarian route, you don't have to add the meat to it. There is a little flavor packet that comes with it, and you can use that or not. You can just add your own spices. But this 15 bean soup by Ham-B is absolutely delicious, and your family will love it as much as mine does. Coming in at number 9 is chicken broth, and chicken broth is definitely in the top 10 of the 20 products just because you can do so much with it. You can add it to soups and stews and chilies and things like that. You can cook your pasta in it. You can cook your mashed potatoes in it, different things like that. So there is so much you can do with chicken broth. You can even sip on it if you're ill or just need something to warm up. Warm it up, put it in a cup and sip on it. It can help ease a queasy tummy and certainly serve as a cup of tea if you don't have anything else. So definitely you want to make sure you've got some chicken broth, and it can run anywhere from $1.50 a carton to $3 a carton, depending upon what brand you buy, whether it's organic or whatever like that. But number 9 is chicken broth. Now, rounding out the top 10 is this canned beef stew and canned chilies. These are those meal preps that you can eat straight out of the can if you need to. You can warm them up, or you can warm them up and pour them over chili. But they definitely make a hearty meal and can feed a hungry family. And then other cans of soups and stews can certainly be included as part of this particular category. But my favorites were this Dinty Moore beef stew and this Campbell's chunky chili with beans. Who knew that Campbell's made such a good tasting chili? My husband said this chili tastes almost as good as mine. The Campbell's chunky chili runs about $2, maybe $2.50 a can, and the Dinty Moore beef stew runs somewhere around $3, maybe $3.50 a can. But I think they're both definitely worth the price. And again, if you need to stretch them a little bit, just add a little bit of rice, particularly brown rice, and they're delicious. Coming in at number 11 is this Blackberry Applecider Tea. And tea is certainly a category of product that you want to have in your prepper pantry. And this particular one is absolutely delicious, and it is so mild that you can actually drink it without a sweetener. So your children would enjoy it without a sweetener if necessary, as well as yourself. And it says that it's Blackberry Apple Cider Digestive Awakenings Tea, and it supports healthy digestion. So if you need to soothe a sensitive tummy or a little queasy tummy, this is very helpful. Or also, if you've got someone having a little trouble with regularity, this can help stimulate digestion as well. So I definitely think you should have some of this Blackberry Apple Cider Tea on your shelf. And this particular one is by Yogi. That is the brand, the Yogi brand. But tea in general is something you want to have. You can make it outdoors in a pot if you need to, and just pouring some in a cup and just kind of wrapping your hands around the mug just makes you feel so warm and cozy. So definitely you want to have, if not this particular type of tea, but many forms of tea in your pantry preps, because you can just use them in so many different situations. Coming in at number 12 are these dried porcini mushrooms. These mushrooms were, oh my goodness, amazing. I used them in a dish where I used the gnocchi dumplings, potato dumplings, and the mushrooms, and they bring the flavor. They were just so good, and my husband really enjoyed it as well. Now, they were interesting to use though. You have to clean them. So I rinsed them off to clean them, and then you have to soak them in a dish for about 30 minutes to let them plump up because they're dehydrated. So you've got to let them rehydrate. And when they do, they look like fresh mushrooms. And then you just cook them as you normally would. So I would definitely encourage you to pick up some of these. Now, these particular mushrooms are not cheap. I ordered them on Amazon, and I'm thinking they were somewhere around $8 or $9 for this particular container. But mushrooms do provide some protein and fiber, and they were very, very good. Coming in at number 13 are these whole baby carrots. And you're gonna laugh at this because these are the Kroger brand whole baby carrots, but they taste so delicious. For some reason, I just think these whole baby carrots taste better than the carrots that are sliced in little coin rounds. I don't like those carrots that are sliced in coin rounds, but I do like the whole baby carrots. They just seem to be so naturally sweet, and I enjoy using them in soups and stews and pot pies and different things like that. They were about 3 for $5, so when Kroger's has different sales on, they'll have a 3 for $5 sale or something like that. So they are not necessarily cheap. You can probably find the coin cut carrots a lot cheaper, but I think because of the flavor that you get, these are worth the price. 14th on the list is this bag of dried berries and golden raisins. They taste so good. If you need a natural snack, just something that's a little bit sweet, you can grab a handful of these berries and raisins and they will ease that little sweet tooth. You can use them in baking, you can use them in granola, you can use them in oatmeal, different things like that. If need be, you can heat up some water, put them in some water and kind of simmer them up a little bit to tenderize them a little bit, and you can make some kind of a little sweet dish with that. You definitely want to have some raisins and berries in your stash because, again, they can serve so many purposes. So like I said, they can naturally sweeten some dishes, ease a sweet tooth, and be like a nice little snack. Instead of candy, a little handful of raisins can go a long way. Next on the list for my favorite preps are these nuts. I love these Fisher chopped pecans. I use them almost every day. If we're having oatmeal, we like to sprinkle a few pecans in the oatmeal. If you're having granola, if you're having ice cream, sprinkle a few pecans in that. As well as walnuts are great in baking and in granola and in your oatmeal. So sprinkle in some of the dried berries with the nuts, and you can really improve the heartiness of that oatmeal for breakfast. And as I said earlier, in baking, muffins and cookies and all kinds of different things. And nuts are natural sources of protein and fiber. So you definitely want to have some nuts in your inventory. Now, if I can only buy one bag of nuts, I'm going to buy the pecans because I like the flavor of the pecans better than I like the flavor of the walnuts. But I love the walnuts too. So make sure you've got some nuts in your preps. Now coming in at number 16 is something as mundane as these mashed potatoes. And I am really loving these Idahoan roasted garlic mashed potatoes. And there's a couple other flavors that I'm enjoying as well. But the nice thing about these are they are single serve packets, so to speak. So for example, this particular pouch, when it's made up following package directions, it serves 4. Or if you need a heartier serving, it could possibly serve 2, say 2 adults or maybe 3 adults or something like that. But it says it serves 4. But once you've got it made up, this packet is done. So you don't have to worry about having anything left over and having to worry about trying to refrigerate it or store it later. So I'm really enjoying these. And they were just like $1 a pack. So I thought these were really pretty nice. And you can use your chicken broth to make these and save some of your water in case that's what you needed to do. So these are definitely on the pickup prep list. And number 17 on the list are these field peas and snaps. Now, they're just interesting and they taste good. You know, when you're picking up canned vegetables, you probably pick up the same old corn and green beans and sweet peas and that kind of thing. But these field peas and snaps, these seasoned field peas and naps by Margaret Holmes, can just add a little bit of a different flavor to your diet so that you don't end up with food fatigue from the same old vegetables that you have all the time. Now, I wouldn't pick up too many cans until you're sure that your family is going to like them, but certainly just to give you a little bit of something different, I would pick up these filled peas and snaps, and you can get these at Kroger or Walmart. And number 18 on the list is something I discovered completely accidentally. I was reaching for what I thought was ketchup, but it turned out to be the Heinz HoneyRacha Sauce. And what it does, it combines the sweetness of honey with the spice of sriracha sauce. So it's not as hot. It does have a little heat to it, but not as much heat as a regular hot sauce. So you can use it for dipping and other things that you might typically use hot sauce or barbecue sauce or mayo for. You can use this Heinz HoneyRacha Sauce for. It's a relatively new product. I think it just came out in 2020, and it costs about $3 a bottle, but it's definitely worth a try. And it can certainly help to jazz up some of your meals so you don't end up with food fatigue. Number 19 on the list is an old favorite, and that is Tang. Tang is an orange flavored powder. You just add a little bit of water to it, mix it up, and you've got a drink that provides 100% of the vitamin C that you need on a daily basis. So if you don't have orange juice, you can replace that with Tang. Now, it's best served cold, but room temperature will work. And other drink mixes that you can consider would be something like this Country Time lemonade flavored powder. Again, add a little bit of water and mix it up, cool it, and you've got another good source of vitamin C. So now if I was going to pick between the two, Tang is probably the best one on the list, but coming in at a close second is going to be my all-time favorite, lemonade. So there you go with your drink mixes. And while we're looking at beverages, let me bring to your attention these small size bottles of Minute Maid orange juice. I typically don't buy orange juice in this size. I'm typically going to buy either a half-gallon size bottle for the fridge, that kind of thing. But if I'm in a situation where the power is out, my fridge isn't working, I'm not going to want to open a half-gallon of juice and have it sitting for a few days. So with these little small bottles, they're pretty much, you can either split one between two people or one person can drink it all. So I am loving these small 10-ounce bottles of orange juice. And then on that same line, I've got these small bottles of 7-Up. If you've got someone that might have a little queasy tummy, catching a cold, you can always serve them warm 7-Up, warm ginger ale. Well, when I say warm, I mean room temperature 7-Up or room temperature ginger ale. And that can just kind of help settle the stomach just a little bit. Or you can chill it and use it as a regular beverage. And I'm liking the fact of these small bottles. So you don't have a whole bottle, a whole large, say quart-sized bottle open, and then it go flat or something like that. And the last item on the list to round out my top 20 is sugar. And it was really hard for me to think about what kind of sugar do I want to have as number 20. Do I want white sugar? Do I want brown sugar? What kind of sweetener do I want to have? Because of course, there are some people that swear by honey, but I had to think about it and I thought, well, my top favorite when it comes to sweetener is going to be white sugar because I can use it in so many things. I can use it in baking, I can use it in cooking, I can use it in teas and beverages and all kinds of things like that. So my all-time favorite is white sugar. If I've got a bowl of cereal with milk, I'm going to add a spoonful of sugar in that as well. However, when I'm making porridge or cream of wheat, I use brown sugar, and there are so many recipes in baking in particular that call for brown sugar. So it was hard for me to decide. So if I can only buy one, I'm going to buy white sugar. If I can pick up a second one, then I'm going to get brown sugar. And whereas I love honey in baking and sometimes I'll use it in tea, I don't use it as often as I like white sugar and brown sugar. Now, your die-hard preppers are going to pick honey over some of these other two sweeteners, and that's fine. This is my top favorite preps for 2020, and so that includes white sugar, brown sugar, and then the honey. And then of course we're going to also need to have some pancake syrup. Now, can you make your own pancake syrup if you don't have any? If you've got some white sugar, you've got a little honey, yes, you can make your own pancake syrup. But if you can pick up all 4, then that's what I would do. So now, what's rounding out my top 20 is sweeteners, and the top of that sweetener list is sugar, white sugar, and then brown sugar, honey, and then pancake syrup. And if you can afford maple pancake syrup, by all means, get that. And I have 2 honorable mention products. The first of those is going to be this Rose chicken noodle soup that is, oh my goodness, delicious. I discovered it about a month ago. I did share it on another video, but it is absolutely amazing, so I encourage you to try it. You can pick this up at Target or at Kroger, and you might be able to get it at Walmart too, but I'm not sure. And then this Essenhaus Better Than Base chicken. They've got better than base chicken, better than base beef, that kind of thing, but the chicken is the one I use the most. So wanted to give you those 2 as honorable mentions. So my question for you are, what are your favorite preps for 2020? Tell me in the comment section below. Sometimes the very best ideas come from right here in the TNT community. So let me know, what are your top 20 preps? Inquiring minds want to know. And you'll notice that I did not talk about those pantry staples such as flour and canned vegetables and spices and those kinds of things. I have other videos where I do address that. This video is part of a series I created called Prepping with Denise, and it tells you all about how you can begin to build a 3-month food supply of your own. And you can click here to check out that playlist. If you want to see the video where I begun my prepping journey, click here. In the meantime, this is Denise Jordan saying you're not done yet. Click on the link in the comment section below and check out my video on building a 3-month food supply, My Prepper Pantry, and I will see you next time.